Welcome, Sens Talk.
Russell winds in, feeds it back across the strike, and scores! Drake Batherson makes it 2-0. Giroux, hit alone, scores!
Tim Stutzlock cross, Kachuk score! The captain, Brady Kachuk, buries it with 1:18 to go.
See you later. Go, Sens, go. Welcome to Sens Talk. My name is Brandon Plant, and I am your host. Tonight, Ottawa is finally back in action as they take on the New York Islanders after nearly a week off, 6 days since their last game, a win against the Minnesota Wild in Sweden last Saturday. It's great to have Sens hockey back in a way. We'll get into it. It wasn't exactly the best game for Ottawa. We'll talk about that later. But nonetheless, it always is great to have Sens hockey. And the last time Ottawa came back from Sweden, they were frankly cursed. They collapsed, had the rebuild, blew it all up. Don't think that's going to happen this time. I hope the sweep of Sweden broke that curse. And we'll see what happens today and going into the rest of the year. If that curse is lifted or not, we'll see. But it always is great to have Sens hockey back. And they play an Islanders team tonight who's won multiple games in a row. And the last time Ottawa played them, they lost. So they're looking for a bit of vengeance tonight against the New York Islanders. And a big reason they lost that game against the Islanders was Ilya Sorokin. He made 40-plus saves against the Ottawa Senators. We got goalied. But tonight, Ottawa won't have to face Sorokin. They'll be facing Varlamov. So that may sound better. Oh, we're facing the backup. Easy. No. Varlamov has a 920-plus save percentage, so still a tough test for the Ottawa Senators tonight. Now, in net for the Ottawa Senators, speaking of them, is Anton Forsberg, as he looks to build off of a great start in Sweden last Saturday in that 2-1 shootout win. Now, that means Jonas Korpisalo would not start tonight. He also wouldn't dress. He's out with a day-to-day injury with a minor strain, and he was dealing with this injury last Saturday as well in Sweden. He didn't dress for that game either. Mads Zuckergaard was the backup goalie for that game as well. And I mentioned this last week, that if he was still dealing with an injury by now, I would be concerned. And I'm officially concerned. Look, Jonas Korpisalo hasn't played more than 39 games in his NHL career in a full year before. It just hasn't happened. So him having an injury is obviously concerning due to that history. So it makes sense not wanting to rush him back. Hopefully for Monday's game against the Panthers, he'll at least be dressing good enough to be the backup because you really don't want to have an injury there for a goalie like Jonas Korpisalo, who frankly has been one of the lone bright spots on this team all year. One of the lone consistent players. He's been fantastic this year for Ottawa. Don't look at the stats. If you watch the games, you would know that. So hopefully it's nothing major for him. Doesn't seem to be the case, but I am concerned after a week off. He's still dealing with something nagging there. So hopefully he'll be back soon, but really tough situation there for Korpisalo. Hope everything works out. Now, like I kind of already alluded to, Ottawa is looking to win 4 straight games. They've won 3 in a row going to this one, and they're looking to go 9-7-0 tonight if they get the win. They're currently 8-7-0. They're looking to get a little more above 500. And this comes where Ottawa, look, they haven't played in a week, which means they have multiple games at hand on every Eastern Conference team. Now, every team in the National Hockey League tonight essentially played. It's Thanksgiving in America, so there's a lot of games during the day or whatever. But Ottawa going into December with a game nearly every 2 days, big opportunity to gain some ground and really solidify your playoff spot. Ottawa has full control of their own fate and destiny. That's all you can ask. So it starts with tonight. Let's see if they can get it done. To the first period we go. 10 minutes in. The Drake Batherson on the power play is left alone in the slot, and he makes no mistake about it. 1-0 Ottawa. As Drake Batherson has 3 goals in his last 5 games. Ottawa leads 1-0. But a few minutes later, the Islanders would strike back as Kyle Palmieri out front puts home the loose puck. Tie game 1-1 after 20 minutes of play. And look, Ottawa put in a great effort early on. Bad bounce. DJ Smith would be proud of that one. My God, I can't believe I just said bad bounce. But it was a bad bounce. But Sanderson and Chychrun have to be far better out front of the net to clear that puck. So unfortunate bounce, I guess. Once again, DJ Smith would be proud of me for saying that. But Ottawa and the Islanders are tied at 1 after 20 minutes of play. We go to the second period of play, and what a wild second period of play this one was. It's 7 minutes in. The Islanders would start scoring, and they wouldn't stop scoring. Wallstrom tips a Ramanov shot as the Islanders would strike and take the lead for the first time. It's 2-1, and this literally comes not even a minute or two after Parker Kelly scored a goal on a nice pass from Matthew Highmore, but it was called off for offside. Of course, offside. The offside penalty, or the offside rule, pardon me, always ruins the party. And that gives the Islanders an opportunity to get some momentum. They do. They strike. It's 2-1. Oh, wait, now it's 3-1 3 minutes later. Palmieri finds Barzal after a scramble out front. Once again, the Ottawa Senators cannot control the puck in the slot. It's a war zone, frankly, and they have no control, no defensive structure, as Palmieri gets that loose puck out front, feeds Barzal, who catches Forsberg down already in the butterfly position. He rips one top shelf. The Islanders strike. It's 3-1 on the power play goal. And then 10 seconds later, my goodness, man, I mean, I'm so sick and tired of the inconsistent play by this team. It's unbelievable. 10 seconds later, literally off the face-off, Anders Lee fires at blocker side past Forsberg. You want to save there. It's 4-1 now. JBD veered off of Lee on this play, leaving a lane open for him to drive to the net, but you still need a save there from Forsberg. But regardless, a complete defensive breakdown there as Islanders strike. And suddenly, after Ottawa looked to be up 2-1, they get the goal called off, and now it's 4-1 within 5 minutes. And those two goals, by the way, the back-to-back goals in 10 seconds, by the Islanders, 6 seconds apart to be exact, in the second period of play, were the fastest 2 goals allowed by the Senators in franchise history. So a little bit of history there in the worst way possible as Islanders strike 3 times in 5 minutes to make it 4-1. Luckily, though, for Ottawa, a minute or so later, they would get one back as Claude Giroux would win a board battle behind the net. Joseph picks up the loose puck from behind the net as well. Feeds Timmy Stu out front. Bang! 4-2 game. We are back in this one. Tim Stützle with a huge goal. Ottawa cuts the lead to 2, and they cut the lead to 1 a minute later as Matthew Joseph, again, what a season he's had. He forces a Brock Nelson turnover. Drake Batherson receives a nice, quick, nifty setup pass from Tim Stützle right in the slot. Batherson puts home his second of the night, 4th in 5 games, 4-3 game after 40 minutes of play. What a wild second period of play. But Ottawa, they find themselves down by 1, and it's inexcusable what happened midway through that game. 3 goals in 5 minutes. There's no excuse for it, especially against a team like the Islanders who are depleted. They were missing 2 defensemen this game, which we'll talk about in the game notes. But you need to call a timeout there. You have to call a timeout, especially after 2 goals in 6 seconds. You got to call a timeout there. I mean, the Islanders literally did when Ottawa scored 2 goals in 2 minutes after the Islanders scored 3 in 5. So I don't know why DJ didn't call a timeout there. Clearly the boys were rattled, obviously. But nonetheless, we move on to the third period of play. And going to the third period of play, when the Islanders lead, they're 6-0-3. So they have lost a few games when leading after 40, but those were in overtime. So they always get a point at the least. While Ottawa, they're 1-6-0. But that one win was on Saturday against the Minnesota Wild, a comeback win. So hey, maybe they'll make it 2 wins in a row when being down after 40 minutes of play. But it did not look good 5 minutes in. Dobson with a shot from the point, bounces off Holmstrom and in. 5-3 game. Bad bounce again, I guess, yeah. You know, it was a bad bounce, but look, Sens fall 5-3. I'm going to get to the point here. Bad bounce, sure. You can talk about bad bounces all day, but that's not an excuse for the lack of passion and the lack of urgency and the lack of energy. They played really flat. For most of that third period until the last few minutes, the Sens had one shot. One shot. I mean, come on. How are you going to win a game when you're putting one shot on net in the first 5 to 10 minutes of the third period of play? Now, overall, they had 31 shots. They had 10 in that third period. So they did push late. Varlamov had a couple of great saves in the last couple of minutes with the empty net, but I don't care. I'm not here for silver linings, okay? I'm here for results. And the Sens didn't get a result again. They're 8-0 now. And I'm so sick and tired of being mediocre at best. I'm sick and tired of it. It's 16 games into the year, and we're still talking about the same damn thing after every single game. Sure, there's some fun moments. We win some games. Tim Stützle, Brady Tkachuk, they bail us out sometimes. Sometimes skill can overcome the lackluster play of this team, but it can't carry us all the time, and it didn't carry us today, that's for sure. And the lackluster play, the lack of urgency, it's so consistent. It's like in their DNA at times. It's really unfortunate, and I'm sick and tired of it. I really am. I'm sick and tired of it. We're 16 games into the year now. I'm not panicking, but I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the same damn excuses, the bad bounces. There's really just no excuse for it anymore. We've been seeing the same damn mistakes by this team for multiple years in a row. Multiple years in a row. At what point do you think, maybe we need a bit of a change behind the bench? And I always say this, DJ Smith needs to be credited for building a great culture in this organization. He's a great person, but he's not getting results. There's no consistency with this team. The only consistency with this team is losing and lack of effort. I'm sorry, that's just the fact, okay? 31 shots, sure. How many high danger chances? Not many. How many high danger chances for the Islanders, though? Many. Why? Because we have no defensive structure. Why do we have no defensive structure? Because our coaches don't know how to implement defensive structure. So this team consistently lets us down, obviously, but the consistency of the lackluster play and the same mistakes, it's getting tiring. I'm sick and tired of it. I make a video after every single game. I don't know what to say anymore. It's the same thing. It's ridiculous. And look, the 6th time Ottawa's allowed 5+ goals in a game this year. We're 16 games into the season, okay? 6 games already. It's nearly 1 out of 3 games we're allowing 5+ goals. You just have to be better than that. You're not making the playoffs allowing 5+ goals. And look, the Islanders, yeah, they've won 4 in a row now. They're a decent team. They were missing 2 defensemen today. I mean, come on. Come on. There's no excuse to lose to a team missing 2 defensemen. I mean, give me a break. And Forsberg had an .808 save percentage today, 19 for 23 in terms of saves. A couple of those goals were him for sure, but a couple weren't. So you got to clear the front of the net as well. The slot is always open for the opposing team. It's so tiring. And yeah, look, once again, that lead goal especially, you need a save there. But at the end of the day, stat line really doesn't show the performance from Forsberg. I mean, once again, a couple of bad bounces. I'm not using it as an excuse for the loss, but for Forsberg, it's an excuse because that 5th goal from Holmstrom, for example, really bad bounce. I don't know what you want Forsberg to do there. So unfortunate series of events there for Forsberg, no doubt, but a couple of saves you need to make there on a couple of those goals. Now look, last thing I'll mention on the high note is Drake Batherson. 4 goals in his last 5 games. He's really starting to heat up, which is great to see. Bruce Garriock mentioned in the intermission today that some teams have kicked tires on Drake Batherson. And, you know, look, I think Batherson is a highly skilled offensive guy. I wouldn't trade him. He's a young player, should be a good piece of this core for a while to come. You need supplemental scores like that on top of guys like Kachuk and Stützle, and of course Norris and whatever. So Batherson's a good player there for the top 6. I'd keep him around for sure. It makes sense teams are, you know, expressing interest since he's such a dynamic scorer. But as well, look, I mean, once again, Giroux's not getting any younger. Tarasenko's not going to be here forever. Garriock also mentioned that Kubalik's also been involved in trade talks. That one makes much more sense. For one, you're going to have to clear some space when Pinto comes back in, you know, January, February. So I would expect a trade within the next couple of months. Whether that's Kubalik or not, I don't know. But that does make sense, especially since he's on a 1-year deal. So there's really no long-term outlook there for Kubalik as well. And he hasn't been a world breaker either by any means. He's been fine. So wouldn't be the biggest loss. And when you need to clear space for a guy like Pinto, you got to do it. But with Batherson, once again, you keep him. Giroux's not getting any younger. Same with Tarasenko. And, you know, you got guys in the system like Yarventi, who's up now, who's been playing well. But you got Crookshank. You got only a few guys really down there that can produce. You don't really have anyone that could be a top 6 guy. So Batherson should be here long term. I would not trade him whatsoever. Let me know what you think about that though in the comment section down below as always. I'm very interested to hear your thoughts. But yeah, besides that, I'll leave it at that. The next Sens game is against the Panthers on Monday. I'll be there. Very excited for that one as Matthew Tkachuk and Brady Tkachuk will be facing off in the Tkachuk Bowl. And besides that, thank you all for watching. And until then, take care, talk soon, and go Sens go.